Hello. I've got into this really weird habit where every time I sit down to film, I feel like I need to be holding a drink. I seem to have done it in my last few videos, and today we've got my London mug. I do love it as much as I thought I would. Like, when I first saw this in the shop, I was like, is this kind of tacky and like touristy, or is it cute? And I think I have decided that it is actually giving what I was hoping it was going to give. If I'm being totally honest right now, I am seriously craving a matcha. I don't know what it is with matcha. I feel like it would make most sense for me to wake up and want it first thing in the morning, because obviously it's caffeinated, but for some reason it's when I hit the like 3-4 p.m. slump that I immediately want a matcha, and I feel like that's just a little bit late in the day to be having caffeine, because caffeine really affects me, and I'm someone that struggles anyway to like get to sleep at night and then wake up in the morning. So I feel like having caffeine is just like the last thing that I should be doing. So instead I've got a hot chocolate. I don't know if it's gonna hit the spot. It's actually 6:30 p.m. right now, which I can't get my head around, because to me it feels like it's about 4 p.m. I don't quite know how that's happened, but I had this thought the other day. I took myself on a little walk. I got myself up early and went for like an hour-and-a-half long walk, which is something I don't normally do. Like, I love a walk, and for some reason, as soon as I'm in a different country, my favorite thing to do is walk around. Like, when I went to Australia, I spent most of my time either walking or sitting in parks, and anytime away, that's like the first thing that I want to do. But for some reason, I never do it when I'm home. I don't know if it's because I feel like I can't really justify taking the time to walk around, whereas if I'm somewhere else, I feel like that's a good way to spend my time, because then I'm kind of exploring, being a tourist. I don't know, I just never seem to like make time to go for walks when I'm home. But the day I was talking about, I was just like, you know what, I really feel like I should get out the house, because it's been so sunny and hot recently, and I feel like being stuck indoors, or even just like walking on a treadmill, which is normally what I do for exercise, it just felt like a waste. But anyway, I'm getting so distracted from the main point I was gonna make. So I was on this walk and I was listening to a podcast, and I was listening to Self-Obsessed by Tam. I'd never actually listened to her podcast before. I've obviously seen a few of her YouTube videos and stuff, but I know she's super into like self-love, self-growth, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, given I'm on a hot girl walk, I feel like I should be listening to something that matches that vibe. But anyway, she was talking about how she does a 6-month goal check-in. I don't know if you guys remember, but I posted a vision board making YouTube video back in January, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no idea what I spoke about in that video, which is crazy because it was only 6 months ago, and these were obviously meant to be my goals for the year, like things I wanted to achieve. And I just realized while I was listening to this podcast that I have not thought about these goals since probably like March. But she was saying it's a really good idea to like have a 6-month goal check-in, so you can look at the things on the list, see what you've maybe achieved that you didn't even realize, maybe even remove things from on there that don't align with where you're going. You can add things. And when I first listened to this, I was like, the idea of doing that actually makes me really uncomfortable, because I feel like I'll look at these goals in my head, because I haven't really been thinking about them. I feel like I won't have achieved many of them, and so it makes me really uncomfortable to think about looking at these goals and being like, damn, I set this goal for myself and I've already kind of failed. But we're only 6 months into the year, so I don't even need to have achieved these goals yet. By looking at these goals and kind of refreshing my mind and maybe getting rid of some, maybe making some new ones, it will hopefully mean that by the end of the year, I'll be more likely to achieve those goals. And I don't know, maybe now this is gonna get super deep, but it also then got me thinking, in order to kind of get further with where I want to be, like achieve these goals, tick these things off, I need to, in the short term, be more uncomfortable. Like, for example, right now, it would be way more comfortable for me to just not look at these goals, not look at things I've achieved or not achieved, but that would make me more uncomfortable in the long term, because it would mean that I'd be less likely to achieve the goals. Does that make any sense? I feel like it doesn't. But basically, I think what I'm saying is like, it's better to be a bit uncomfortable in the short term, aka look at these goals, realize what ones I haven't been taking steps towards, what ones I've been failing at a little bit, in order to then later down the line be more likely to achieve those goals. But anyway, let's have a little look at these goals. I've got them on my laptop. I'm going to go through all the ones that I mentioned in my original like vision board planning video. So the first thing that we have is the L'Oreal ski trip, and I did in fact go on this, although I feel like this is slightly cheating because I knew kind of that this was going to happen as I was making my vision board list. So if you want to hear all the details about that, go back and watch the original video. But we did do the L'Oreal ski trip. It was incredible, so I can already tick that one off, which is actually quite exciting. Like, the first one we can tick off. I feel like I'm cheating a bit with that one, but never mind. Okay, so this one is a major flop. We have a consistent sleep schedule and work hours.
Cut the cameras.
I have not done that. I have not even slightly done that. But one thing I will say, because as I said, the whole point of this is to kind of adjust these to make these more manageable or realistic. I think I've just realized that that doesn't really work for me, and I actually work better working when inspiration strikes. I've tried so many times in the past to have a consistent schedule and to have working hours or whatever, and every time I've done it, either it's not worked or I've just not enjoyed it. I'm very lucky to be in a place where if I want to be filming at 3 a.m, I can. And if that's when inspiration strikes, that is probably when my content is going to be the best, rather than forcing myself to do it at like 8 a.m. or whatever, just because that's more kind of socially acceptable. So actually, looking at that, I don't necessarily think that is a failure. I actually think I've changed my mind on whether that works for me. The consistent sleep schedule, however, that's not so good, because I definitely haven't taken steps towards that. But it's okay. We're only 6 months in. These do not have to be completed goals yet. But it's interesting to look at that and be like, this is something that I need to focus on for the next 6 months. Okay, next we have send out my show reel. This I haven't done, but I have been making big steps towards it. So if you don't know, I've been taking acting lessons for the past like 2 years, I want to say. And making my show reel has been a massive part of that. So I'm taking as many steps towards that as I can right now. And I am like 100% certain that that will be completed within the next 6 months. So one that's not completed yet, but definitely is on track to be. But next we have do my first audition or self-tape. Again, this has not happened yet. I feel like this is one that will only really happen once I send out my show reel. It's kind of dependent on that happening. But as I said for the last one, we are making steps towards that, and I do feel like that's something that is definitely achievable within the next 6 months. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to complete that by the end of the year. Oh my god. I didn't even remember that I wrote this. Wow, this just shows how much I did not keep up with checking off this goals list. We have hit 1.8 million on TikTok, which I did literally like a week ago. I actually can't believe that, because I have had this goal on my goals list probably for the past 2 years plus. I don't know what happened, but that makes me so happy, because I've been working so hard on my TikTok content and really thinking about what you guys want to see, the type of stuff that's authentic to me, really pushing myself into areas that I don't feel so confident or comfortable in, and it's paying off, which is just the most exciting thing ever. Like, the fact that I've had this goal on my kind of vision board for so long and I haven't been able to hit it because I haven't been pushing myself out of my comfort zone into creating the type of videos that I've always wanted to do, but that I've been scared to do, and that now that I'm doing that, it's working. That makes me so happy. And I can't even believe this either, because the next one we have on the list is hit 550k followers on Instagram, which we have also done. I obviously wrote down these goals and have had these kind of subconsciously in my head as things I've wanted to achieve, but I literally have not been like thinking about them. Like, I haven't been going, this is on my vision board, this is on my goals list, I need to get this done before the end of the year. I have not been thinking like that. All I've been thinking is, how can I put out the best content possible, stuff that I really enjoy creating, that I think you guys are gonna like. This is genuinely making me think that subconscious manifestation might actually work. I think in my original video I did say something like, I don't want to have too many kind of numerical goals on my goals list, because yeah, numbers are obviously like a gauge of how well you're doing, but at the same time, I don't want my idea of my own success to be dictated by numbers. I want my idea of success to be sweet messages that I receive, and also obviously being proud of what I myself am putting out. But at the same time, it is nice to be able to look at the numbers and see that physical sign that I am going in the right direction. I don't know, that's just very exciting for me to look at. I honestly cannot believe that I haven't read through these in the past few months, because the next one that I have on the list is go on one overseas solo trip, but it has to be further away than Paris. I literally went to Australia like 2 months ago. I don't think you can get further away from Paris than Australia, to be honest. I just know as well that Flo, who was writing that in her goals list, was like, either that's not gonna happen or it's gonna be somewhere in Europe that's very in my comfort zone. I literally flew to Australia by myself at like 2 days notice, and I was there for 10 days completely on my own. The fact I did that still blows my mind. As I'm going through this list, I'm putting like ticks and crosses, and the fact that I'm seeing so many ticks on this list already, only 6 months into the year, when I genuinely, before I started reading this, was like, I'm not going to have achieved any of the things I've written down. I'm not going to be anywhere close to achieving any of these goals. That's kind of crazy. Okay, next we have go on a specific podcast. That hasn't happened. yet, but we still have 6 months. You never know. Oh, this is such an interesting one. I genuinely didn't realize I wrote this on here. Cut down on events. Only go to 1 to 2 per week. And I am doing that. I definitely this year have been prioritizing only attending events that I really, firstly want to go to, secondly that I want to post about, and thirdly with brands that I really love. And I have definitely been doing that. And not only that, but I've only been going to maybe one event every 2 to 3 weeks, I would say. So not only have I achieved this goal, but I'm also kind of going over the top with it. And I'm so glad I have made this decision, because it means that I just have so much more energy and time to create content I really care about, rather than being like, oh my God, I'm going to this event, I should be posting about it, I should be tagging. Just means that everything that I'm posting is stuff I really want to post, which is so nice. Obviously not that it wasn't what I wanted to post before, but it was much more kind of branded, whereas I feel like what I'm posting now is much more organic and kind of authentic. Then we have visit 2 new countries or states. Obviously went to Australia, so we can already tick off one of those. Have I been anywhere else that's new? No, I haven't. But that's okay. We're 6 months in and we've ticked off 1 out of 2. So we've still got the remaining 6 months to tick that off. Also, I am going to go through and like mark how many of these I have achieved out of how many I've got written down. But obviously for that last one, I put a cross next to that because I haven't achieved it yet. But that doesn't mean that I have failed at it, if that makes sense. It just means I haven't fully achieved it yet. So even when I look at this like final score, I don't know why I'm doing it like a test or an exam. But yeah, when I look at this final score, even that isn't going to be like a true representation of this list, which is also very nice to know. Oh my gosh. Okay, next we have do at least 2 panels or public speaking events. Again, I have done 1 out of 2. I spoke on a panel for Canon at the, what was it? It was like a photography show in London. And yeah, they asked me to speak on it as like a social media creator who uses Canon cameras, which was genuinely a very big pinch me moment for me because I've been using Canon cameras forever. Okay, we've only got 2 left, and these 2 we definitely haven't done. We have visit 1 museum, show or exhibition every month to expand my acting knowledge. I was really good at this at the start of the year. I went to easily 1 exhibition or show every month, and now I have definitely fallen off with that. I'd say out of the 6 months, I've probably done it for 3 months, which isn't bad, but it's definitely not where I want it to be. So I'm going to put a cross next to that, and that's one I definitely need to focus on for the remaining 6 months. And then finally, we have read 1 acting book per month. Yeah, this is definitely a flop. I don't think I have picked up an acting book in the past 5 months. I'm gonna be so real. But this is the reason that we look through these now, because we still have 6 months. So none of these are failures if I haven't achieved them yet. This is just gonna really help me get like a refresh in my mind of what things I need to be focusing on for the next 6 months. So out of the 13 that I have on my goals list, we have achieved 5, which to be honest isn't nearly as bad as I was expecting. And also, as I've said, like those 5 are things that are ticked off. They are done. Whereas the other things are kind of either half done or I'm working towards them, apart from the few where I'm like, I have not done that at all. But to be honest, I am very happy with that. Like that has honestly surprised me. I'm definitely going to be keeping that in mind for the next 6 months. That was actually surprisingly positive. Right, this is probably going to be the most random story ever, but I had the most bizarre thing happen to me last night. Wait, let me go close the door real quick. Also, can I just say, I feel like I have decided on like that was such a weird way to sit down. Sorry, this is probably so confusing and all over the place, but I've kind of decided, I think, with YouTube videos that it just makes most sense to me to literally just turn on the camera whenever I feel like there's something I want to talk about, rather than trying to have a format of like a day in my life or a week in my life. I'm just gonna film whenever. So most of the vlogs that I upload are probably gonna be lots of random little bits of stuff. So I feel like I need to give context to the story, because I feel like this is probably why I had this dream. Also, you can see my bin in the back. So aesthetic, love that. Probably about a month ago now, it was my high school 5-year reunion, which I went to, which was honestly the weirdest thing ever. Like I was umming and ahhing about going to this thing for weeks, because there were parts of it that I wanted to go for and then other parts I just really didn't want to go for. Basically, I left school a year early because I dropped out to do social media full time. I literally made a whole YouTube video as well, like talking about how I was going to drop out of school, and that feels like forever ago. Like that honestly feels like a different lifetime ago. So this was our 5-year reunion, but I hadn't seen most of these people for actually 6 years. If you've seen my TikTok like story time about my weird school experience, you'll understand that I lived at my school. So I'll link it down below so you can go watch it, because I had a very unique and weird like high school experience. I really wanted to go to this reunion because it would mean that I'd get to go back to my home, basically. Like, I grew up at my school from the age of literally when I was born up until 18. I lived at my school, so it was literally home to me. Like, yes, I live in London and I consider London my home, but this was my childhood home. So this was going to be kind of my only opportunity to go back to my childhood, I guess, and almost like say goodbye to it, because I never really had a solid goodbye. I was also obviously curious to like see people that I'd gone to school with and catch up with people, but there was also a big part of me that was like, is this going to kind of unlock memories that I've almost locked away? Like, that part of my life is done. Do I want to kind of open up those memories again? And also, do I really want to be having small talk with people that I haven't spoken to or seen in 6 years? So anyway, I ummed and ahed about it for ages, and then in the end, me and Miranda basically said, we will go if the other person goes. We kind of made a pact, and I literally decided like the day before that I was going to do it. So I went to this reunion, and it was actually amazing. I'm so glad that I went. It was really nice to catch up with everybody. But one of the main things that I regretted was that I didn't really walk around much of the school. I went to see my old house where I'd lived, and also my schoolhouse that I was in. But I didn't go and see places that I spent loads of time in, like the music department I spent ages in. But anyway, that is the backstory. But the reason that I had this weird experience last night is because I had the strangest dream. I honestly woke up from it this morning and I was like, what just happened? I dreamt that I went back to the kind of music department area of my school. Everyone in my year group who I had seen at this reunion was in this like big music room, and everyone was just like crying and like hugging each other, and it sounds so weird. It was such a wholesome feeling because I feel like I had that level of closure of like everyone crying and being sad that we're like parting ways and we're not going to see each other anymore. But I didn't have to have the awkwardness of feeling like I needed to, you know, hug people back or feeling awkward because I was dreaming, obviously. I just didn't feel awkward. So I almost got the closure that I wanted from going to this reunion. But in a dream, it was honestly so bizarre. I don't even know how to describe it, but I woke up and I was like, I feel like I can close that chapter now. But it was just so bizarre. I don't know, have any of you ever had something like that where you've had a dream that has unlocked a different part of your brain, or like done the opposite for me, which was like close that part of my brain? But I'm really glad it happened. Right, I've just got out the shower and I was just about to do my like body care scent fragrance routine, and then I thought, why don't I film this and show you what I've been loving? For me, fragrance and smelling good is honestly so important. Like, I want to be one of those people that when they walk into a room, people are like, she smells really good. And I feel like the best way to do that is to kind of layer products so that they stay on your body for as long as possible. So first thing I do, obviously, after I get out the shower is deodorant. I use a roll-on one and then a spray-on one. I really like the Dove kind of clean, natural scents. Like, I just use the classic fresh roll-on deodorant, and then recently I've been loving the coconut and jasmine flower scent spray-on deodorant. And then this next step I have like a love-hate relationship with, because I love how it smells but I hate the feeling of it on my skin, and that is body moisturizer. I have 3 that I kind of switch between depending on the vibe I want to go for. My most used one at the minute is the Patrick Tar body moisturizer. I just love the smell of this. You can already see how much of this I've got through. I feel like the times that I want to wear this are the days where I want to smell like a bit sexy, like sophisticated. For like a good day-to-day body moisturizer, I love the Sol de Janeiro one, just in the original scent. I've genuinely got through about 6 tubs of this stuff. It's just so good. And it smells incredible. It's kind of a bit caramelly, a bit vanilla-y. It's just a really good kind of base scent. And then a recent discovery, which I've been loving, is the Fenty Skin. This is in Guava Getaway, and it's just a really nice, summery, kind of fruity, fresh scent. It's only on very specific days that I want to wear this, like if I'm going to be out in the sun a lot, maybe if I'm on holiday. But those are my kind of 3 that I switch between. I think today I'm going to use the Sol de Janeiro. I hate feeling sticky. Oh, it also reminds me of the feeling of wearing fake tan, which is like one of my least favorite feelings ever. But the fact that this smells so good honestly does make it worth it. Now for perfume, I feel like I need to give a little bit of context, because I feel like the sheer number of perfumes that I own is ridiculous. You would think that from my content I would be someone that hoards like makeup, skincare, hair care. I don't. I actually don't have nearly as much makeup as I I think most people would think like the average makeup influencer has. A few years ago, I did a massive declutter of all my makeup and literally got rid of about 80% of it. So now I only have the products that I absolutely love to use. But as much as I love makeup and hair care, the one thing that I absolutely hoard is fragrances. I just love being able to wear a different fragrance for different vibes. Like if I'm going for a picnic, I want to have a light floral summery scent. If I'm going to a business meeting, I want something quite like powerful. If I'm going on holiday, I want something fruity. And I'm so aware that I'm in a very lucky position to be able to have different fragrances for different things. 99% of these fragrances have been gifted to me and I have just decided to keep all of them. And I have been building this collection for probably about 6 years now, so that explains why I have so many. But let me show you the collection, and I'm going to talk you through a few of my like favorite ride or die scents, the ones that I reach for most out of all of my fragrances, and why I love them. Okay, so here is my entire perfume collection. I really need to stop hoarding these. Okay, I feel like I have a good selection of both like daytime and nighttime fragrances here. Let's start with the daytime ones. One that I've been obsessed with recently. There is a new fragrance in my collection. I only got this like 2-3 weeks ago and I've already got through this much of it. It's the Fleur Beach Skin body spray. I've tried a lot of the Fleur fragrances before and some of them I really love, but this one, oh my god, this just smells like summer in a bottle. I can't even describe it. If you want to know what Flow right now smells like, this would be it. In fact, I'm gonna wear this today. I also feel like this is one that you just cannot go too overboard with. Could not recommend this more. Now this I think is quite a surprising fragrance to be one of my favorites, given I have so many, but it's from Glossier. It's just the original You fragrance, I think it's called. And this is just another super easy, lightweight, day-to-day fragrance. When it comes to describing fragrances, maybe I'm not the best person because I don't actually know what this smells like, but I'll put a little description of what Glossier says this smells like on the screen. Love her, she's a staple. And the final day fragrance that I love is this one from Jean Paul Gaultier. This is more of like a day to night fragrance. I feel like you could wear this kind of for either, but this is actually one of the fragrances I've got the most compliments on. Like every time I've worn this, someone has said, "What are you wearing?" Again, I don't really know how best to describe this. I feel like you just need to go into a store and try it. I don't really know why I'm doing a fragrance review if I don't know how to describe perfumes. Sorry, it's really not very helpful of me. But those would be my top 3 recommendations for kind of daytime fragrances right now. I mean, I change my mind on what my favorite fragrance is all the time, but for right now, those ones are the ones that I'm reaching for. But for me, it's evening scents that are my absolute favorite. Like I love like a deeper, kind of darker scent. I'm gonna leave my all-time favorite perfume till the end. This is one that out of my entire collection would be the one that I keep. But the first evening perfume that I love is actually by Fenty. Now we all know that Rihanna apparently smells incredible. I actually went to an event where she was there and I'm so annoyed at myself for not like trying to smell her. That sounds so creepy. But please tell me that you have seen the whole internet saying that Rihanna is like the best smelling celebrity. But if I were to guess what she would smell of, I'd assume it would be this, just because this is her own fragrance. This one actually has my name engraved on it as well, which is so cute. But this is my go-to going out evening scent. Like if I'm going to a bar, going clubbing, this is what I want to wear. But the next one is actually one that I bought myself, which I know sounds crazy because it's like, Flo, you've got all these perfumes, why are you going and buying even more? But it was a few years ago and I was in, I think it was a club. A girl walked past me in the girls' bathroom and she just smelt so good. I literally had to ask her what she was wearing and she told me it was this. I've never heard of this brand before. It just says Oud Touch Eau de Parfum by Olivier, sorry. And I looked this up online and I'm pretty sure it was about 20 quid. Don't quote me on that, I'll put the price on the screen. I feel like it might be more, but it really wasn't that expensive for the size of the bottle, how like luxurious this packaging feels, it's made of glass, and also just how good this smells. This is another one that lasts all evening. Like if I'm going out and I want a fragrance that I don't have to touch up all the time, I will go with this one. And just the fact that I smelt this on someone else and loved it so much that I had to ask her what it was, I think says a lot. Again, quite hard to describe, but it's literally called Oud Touch, so I'm guessing it's quite an oudy dark scent, and it's got, again, that kind of deeper, more sultry scent to it. Now, finally, this fragrance. I'm gonna be so real with you. This is not an affordable fragrance or brand in general, but Penhaligon's is probably my favorite fragrance brand of all time. They are an incredibly bougie brand. Like, when I think of Penhaligon's, I think of like horse racing and the royal family and like Hermes. Honestly, that is what comes to mind when I think of Penhaligon's. But this fragrance, for me, nothing beats this, and look how much of this I have got through. And even though I've got through this much of it, I save this perfume for special occasions only. I will wear this when I'm going to a really important meeting or a really important event or something that I want to feel my absolute best and most confident for. So this is Penhaligon's Halfeti. It's the original scent. It's not like I think they have one that's like a more intense version of Halfeti. This stuff just smells so good. Like, this is what I imagine all the like successful business women to be wearing. Like, when I think of this scent, I think of someone like Amal Clooney, like someone just so classy, so put together. So yeah, I save this one for special occasions only, and I'm pretty sure that this bottle is somewhere in the £200 range, which actually makes me want to cry. But having said that, my mum managed to find, I think, a Halfeti hand wash for something like £30, which isn't too bad, and then you can smell it. But yeah, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm putting you onto literally the most ridiculously priced fragrance ever. But having said that, I genuinely think that this one isn't that far off in scent. They're not the same, but I feel like they definitely give the same kind of energy. Actually, smelling them together, those are so similar. Wow, I may have just discovered a dupe without even realizing it. Well, at least you know that I have a type when it comes to fragrances. But yeah, I hope that was interesting. I'll probably do an updated version of this at some point, because I feel like my taste in fragrances is changing all the time and I'm always discovering new ones that I like. But for right now, those are my favorites. Right, it is the next day and it is bed washing day. Bed washing? Bedding washing day. And I'm in the mood to try something new. So this is so random, but I was literally making a matcha the other day and I was thinking to myself, I really want to be able to make kind of like a matcha foam at home. And I looked up how to do it on TikTok, and the only way that I could see people doing it was by using a whisk, like an electric one. And so I kind of made a mental note to go and buy an electric whisk. 2 days ago, I opened a PR package and I was sent a whisk. I'm sorry, but what are the chances of that? Also, an electric whisk I feel is such a random thing to send in a PR package. Like, they sent me a bunch of makeup as well. Like, this was one of the products that was in it. It's from Sync Beauty, which I've never heard of before, but this is a matcha lip scrub. So in the PR package, they sent me this, obviously the whisk, and some matcha powder. I haven't tried this yet, but that's what it looks like. But I just thought, what are the chances of that? Like, that is so random. But that means that now I can attempt to make a foamy matcha. I've looked it up on TikTok, and to be honest, I don't have high expectations, because most of the people that I've seen making like a matcha foam use some kind of thick cream, like a whipping cream or something, which I don't have. But I did just go and buy some whole milk rather than the normal skim milk that I use. Let's give it a go. So I'm just gonna do what I normally do with matcha, which is just use like boiling water in the matcha, and then I think I'm gonna add some milk in it just to make it a bit kind of thicker. So apparently you're meant to just use like a regular matcha whisk to start. Oh, okay. That looks pretty much whisked. Let's add a bit of milk. I really don't think I'm doing this right. Let's see. Okay, I can always add more, so let's leave that for now. But what are the chances that this goes everywhere? Oh, maybe this is a bad idea. Oh my god, it's literally going everywhere. Oh, okay. Wait, I think I've got it. Oh my god, it's kind of working. Is it working, or is it just going bubbly? That has not worked. Oh well, we tried it. It's still gonna taste the same. I'm just gonna add the milk. Oh, hang on. We've got a big lump of like the solid part of the milk at the top. This might actually work. This is so DIY right now. No, it still hasn't really worked. I'm feeling like making a blueberry one today, so I'm just gonna do a bit of vanilla. A bit of vanilla. Why did I say it like that? And then blueberry as well. What? It could be worse. It kind of has like a foam on the top, a little bit. You know what? Next time, I'm going to try and buy some whipping cream or some thick cream, or maybe even something like Philadelphia. Would that work in this? I want something like a kind of cream cheesy topping, because that's what my favourite matcha from Haiti has on top, and it's so good. So I'd love to be able to make that at home, but oh well. We've got a somewhat okay looking blueberry matcha. We gave it a go. Right, this is so rogue. I literally was not planning to film anything on this trip, but basically I'm away on a little staycation with Elizabeth Arden. We're in the countryside. Also, sorry, there's a flickering light and also an extract fan going, and I really hope that it's not too distracting. Actually, that's really distracting. It's blinking. Wait. Oh, women in STEM. She fixed it. Yeah, so I'm in the countryside with Elizabeth Arden. We're literally in this gorgeous little cabin right on the water. It's this place called Lakes by You, I think. I'd never actually heard of it before, but it's kind of near where I grew up, which is kind of rogue given I've never heard of it before. But I've just got back from dinner. I'm trying not to be too loud because I'm actually sharing this little cabin with two of the other girls. But that was one of the best dinners I've ever been to. Like, I was sat with these two girls and we were talking about my Australia trip. It was so interesting because I really think I realised by speaking to them how much my Australia trip did for me. Sorry, I'm just gonna tidy up while I speak because I've made a complete mess of this bathroom and I've only been here like 6 hours. But yeah, it just really made me realise like how much this trip actually changed my perspective on things. But yeah, they were talking to me about the trip and being like, how did you, God, I sound like I'm gassing myself up right now, but like, how did you gain the confidence to go and do this on your own? And I was thinking about it and I was like, how did I actually gain the confidence to go to Australia on my own? And to be honest, I don't really feel like I gained the confidence, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't like, right, I suddenly feel brave enough to do this, I'm gonna do it. The whole time, I felt absolutely shit scared. Also, sorry, I feel like I speak about my Australia trip so much, but it genuinely was so life-changing. I feel like I have to milk it for all it's worth and literally just try and get across to you how much of a life-changing trip it was. Everything that I did on that trip that was out of my comfort zone scared me. I think when people see me post about my Australia trip, they think that I felt really brave doing it, and going out to these bars, they think that I'm brave. And to be honest, I could not feel further from that. Like, I purposefully wanted to do things that really pushed me and that felt scary. Like, going to bars on my own, I felt so uncomfortable. I did not feel like that was something that I really wanted to do. But once I came out of those experiences that made me feel uncomfortable, I was like, I am so glad that I have done this. And I feel like this applies to so many aspects of life. Like, I was talking to the girls at dinner about running, because one of the girls I was speaking to is doing like a, I'm not quite sure what it is, I think like a high rocks. And I was like, do you actually enjoy it? Because I don't know about you, but for me, running is like the least enjoyable thing possible. Like, all I'm thinking about when I'm doing it is I can't wait for this to be over. And she said that, at least for her experience, she doesn't love running. She loves how she feels after she's run. And I was like, that is so interesting. She feels this crazy sense of like achievement and wow, I'm so glad I did that. And I think that's something I didn't quite realise about my Australia trip. I feel like her almost saying that kind of unlocked this realisation in my brain about the trip, why it was so amazing, and why, you know, I get messages from people saying like, you've really inspired me, I really want to go solo traveling, but I'm really scared. Like, how did you not be scared? How are you not scared? How did you like overcome being afraid of doing this? And I've always thought like, I can't really answer that because I feel like I was scared. Like, I wasn't there like, oh my god, I feel so brave doing this. It felt really scary, and I never quite understood how to tell people that. I think this has made me really think like, this is why I did it, is because afterwards I felt so accomplished. And I think that's why I keep talking about it, even though I got back like ages ago now. I keep talking about it because that feeling of accomplishment never goes away. But anyway, I just came away from this meal feeling so proud of myself almost. Like, I feel like I'm still processing my Australia trip. It was so much more than just a trip. It was so much more than like going on holiday for 10 days. Like, I feel like I'm going to be talking about this for so long, of that almost like discomfort, because I know once the discomfort is over, there will be that sense of achievement. But yeah, I wasn't exactly planning to film this, but I'm actually about to get ready for bed. I'm going to try out the 8-hour Hydra Play 2-in-1 cleanser, which is actually brand new. That's the reason I'm here, and I've obviously used this before many times. This is the moisturizer. I'm going to use both of those, and I'm also, I think, going to have a bath. And then I'm going to use the 8-hour body lotion. Yeah, it's been a lovely, productive, and inspiring day.